Okay, so this is the interview for um, the end of unit project with my mom. And do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Vicky Taylor-McNally.
Okay, so what is the position you currently have at your job?
I am a guest teacher for Colorado Springs District 11 for the last 30 years. I teach preschool through 12th grade and have taught at probably more than 30 schools. And before that, I was a substitute in Virginia, D.C. area, and I taught more than 30 schools there as well.
Okay. On to our first question. What is the favorite part about your position,
hmm
or your least favorite part about the position?
Well, there's a lot of bests about my position. I'm in graduate school and I also have health problems, and so being a substitute is really the only job that I can think of and that I enjoy that allows me the flexibility to take off a day. It's very easy to cancel it as long as you cancel it, the evening before, and I don't accept more than 1 day assignments. But so I like that the best. I like the variety. I'm someone that doesn't like to be the same place that long. So even if I have a bad day with the students, I can think, oh, that's okay because I won't see these people again. Or I guess it's also occurred to me more lately that, well, it would be nice to see the same kids and to be able to say hi and stuff like that. But what do I like the least? Um, I don't like, um, on the rare occasion that I have misbehaving students, um, or uh, not willing to work, or students, I am not told as a substitute if there are any special needs in that group, or sometimes teachers will tell me to watch out for Billy or this or that. And even when they do tell me watch out for Billy and so and so and so and so, it's very complicated because I'm not good with names, and so I try to identify earlier in the day who the noted troublemakers are, but I usually forget anyway, and then most often the whole class was good all day, or the kids that were more of a problem were not the ones that were listed. So that's that.
Okay. Have you found any ways to make your job easier or more rewarding?
Well, I find it because I like novelty and new experiences. Like I said, I teach kindergarten, or no, preschool through 12th grade, any subject, and special ed and gifted and anything. And so that has made my job easier, um, because I like the novelty, and it's also just made it easier that I've been a sub for many years and I've gotten confident. Like a couple of years ago, I got to the point that if the principal or anybody else walked in and stood there, I would feel comfortable with them watching me. Where in the early days, I would get really nervous about that. My attitude about that now is okay, if you think there's a problem, you can hop in and help me then. So I'm not intimidated by things anymore. And another thing that has made my job easier is that I never used to call security or administration, but because I thought that would be like a show as a failure as a sub. But the last 2 or 3 years, I have occasionally used that, um, and for calling administration down, or security down, and that's been a good process for me.
Okay, I guess that answers number three. On to number four.
hmm
Have you ever been civilized or something you did not believe you were doing wrong?
And how did I handle it? What have you ever been criticized for something you did not believe you were doing wrong? How did you handle it? Um, I thought of it. I didn't write things down on for the first few questions. I'm trying to think what I had thought of. I can't really think of any situation, but one thing that I like about being a sub is that I'm usually the only adult in the room, so if I would be told something that I did not, or had been criticized for something I was doing wrong, depending on the situation, I would adapt to what the person telling me to do, and especially in cases where they wouldn't know either way, I would just do what the way I would be doing. But the point is that I'm not going to argue with somebody. So
Okay. Um, Describe times in the past where you've been most upset with someone else at work.
Someone else at work. When I went through these, I just mentally thought of things and I didn't write them down. But let's see, most upset with someone else at work. Just generally, I just really haven't been. Oh, okay. I can think of one. I was subbing at elementary school about 3 months ago, and one thing overall that makes me upset is when other people that work at that school don't realize or don't think about the fact that subs don't know your culture. They don't know. Every school has different rules in so many things, and so you just have to be really open minded, and as long as the staff treats you with grace, or the fact that you wouldn't know certain things and support you instead of just get mad or criticize you. I had a case where a student had to go down to the office for something, and so I sent that person down to the office, and then this guy was out in the hallway. He's like, you can't do that." And that's not an attitude I generally get. Usually it's a professional environment and we treat each other with respect. And not to be discriminating, but he was clearly like a maintenance worker. He was not from the professional class, so he just was not professional. And I said, "Well, why is that?" So, because um, you have to send two students down, or no, what was it? He said that a staff member had to accompany any student that needed to go anywhere. And I'm like, "Well, I can't leave this classroom." And he's like, then call the front desk. And so, and I know it was to get a drink of water. So anytime a student had to get a drink of water, I had to call the front office and have them come down and escort the student to the water fountain or to the bathroom or to the office and then come back. And I was just really disgusted with that stupid, unnecessary protocol that I'd never had a school ever do that. And I think he called me out on something else, and I was and I told him that, you're being very rude. There's no way that I would have known that. You could just said that in a more supportive way, and so that's that.
I guess that answers 6 and 7. Um, Bosses sometimes are not satisfied with the way you do, um,
Certain things.
certain things to complete certain projects.
So sometimes they're not satisfied with the way we do certain things or complete or complete certain projects. Give me some examples of when this happened to you. These are hard questions because I'm with a different students, different bosses every day. Um, I'm just trying to think. Do certain things. Um, well, I'll talk about graduate school. And my last school, the American University. I was in this class that was so hard that I had to eventually take an incomplete in it, and then I did finish it a couple of months later. But it was she. It wasn't that my professor was doing anything wrong. Um, but it was so frustrating that she marked up my paper highly to the point like I couldn't even know what to do. And yeah, as far as accepting criticism, it was so overwhelming because it turns out that the graduate program that I was in, that I took 3 courses in and studied and worked so hard, and they were designed for people that were already in that field, and I was totally new, and I was trying to keep up with 15 fellow students who are all working in that industry. So I already felt at a disadvantage with that, and there's nothing I could do about it. But I vented it out to my family. I also vented it out to my professor. But there's nothing she could do. She couldn't reduce the quality or the duties of the curriculum for me. So I just had to get through those classes before I transferred to the University of Denver. So that was a very frustrating experience. But I was very professional when I addressed my teacher and my professor, and so that's what happened.
When juggling performance of others, what factors or characteristics are most important to you?
Respect, giving others the benefit of the doubt, having an open mind towards all people, such as invisible disabilities like fibromyalgia and ADHD, as well as explicit disabilities and genders, and being willing to call a student the name they had chosen to be called. Basically, like if somebody was born a boy, but they just discovered in middle school that they felt like a girl and they wanted to change their name, as long as um, I have that happen all the time when I'm teaching middle school and high school, and you just basically not make it a big deal, and you just go with it and call them the name they want to be called. And being open to different learning styles, fast learners as well as slow learners. I often tell classes that I teach just because some people can whiz through tests and assignments, it doesn't necessarily mean that the slow ones are dumb or anything. I tell them that I've been a slow learner all my life and I'm really smart. There are a lot of more expectations that I have depending on the work environment. I was basing my writing on the educational field. Next year I will be getting my master's degree in nonprofit leadership, and I'll have to learn a whole new set of skills in a totally different work environment.
We've all had to work with people that are difficult. Um, have you? What are some examples that you've had with this?
Years ago, when I was a sub in Virginia, I was teaching at an alternative school that was for elementary students. Um, Elementary schools that had been in trouble, and so there's like a punishment kind of to be at that school, and I greeted each of them warmly, as I always do with every elementary age. I always do, but there, um, the students second. Okay, I ask their students, that's 11, 10, yeah, 10, 11. Students would do in that situation. Students think on their own what they should do next time. When I greet each student, I also, that's one I was to respect. I expect students to respect me. That's what. Okay, well, okay. So in this case, there was an accusation from a kindergartner that a third grade girl whom I was working with a lot, that the third grader had stolen her applesauce on the bus. I approach all situations similar to this in the same way. I don't automatically believe the accusation. I look for any possible third-party witnesses. Often there are none. But throughout the day, I heard staff gossiping about the applesauce over and over again. When the main teacher who had been doing the gossiping, who was also very stern with other students, was getting students on the bus, she told the bus driver all about the applesauce situation. When I went back into the get my things to go home, I heard her talking about it again to another teacher. I said, "The applesauce again?" There was no third party witness, so we don't really know what happened. I have 3 children at schools in this district, and they've talked to me about teachers being bullies, and you are one of those. Maybe I'll call the local newspaper and tell them about the situation. This intimidating woman wasn't used to anyone standing up to her, and she stood there in silence. And I don't know where the rest of that went. But anyway, so that was number 11.
Yeah, and that entered 11.
Okay. Okay.
From time to time, all of us confront. You also talked about that. 13.
How do you go about developing rapport relationships with individuals at work? Well, I generally smile. I have warmth, respect, trying to find shared interests between myself and other coworkers, other students.
All right. Give an example of when you had an idea or opinion in a discussion, or opposed in a discussion. An idea that was opposed in a discussion.
Okay. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to think of answers for number 14, number 17, number 18, and 19. I just can't answer those, but I can talk about 15.
Okay. Tell me specifically, what have you done to show you are a team player at your job?
As a substitute, sometimes when I arrive at a school expecting to be teaching one subject, sometimes my assignment has changed to something else.
Okay.
I'm not done. Where's A? Where is A? Where's A? Okay. And so I happily take the new assignment as I'm open to teaching all grades and all subjects. The staff are usually happily surprised and very appreciative, stating that a lot of subs refuse last minute changes like that.
So 19, right?
No, 16.
Okay.
So we all have ways of showing consideration for others. What's the last part of that?
We have. What are some things you've done to show concern, or consideration for a coworker?
Last Friday, I made myself unavailable in the subsystem because I needed the day off. I got a text from a middle school teacher whom I'd taught for a year before, and I was going to take the day off to get graduate school work done, but in order to let the teacher have a day off, I changed my plans and I worked for him the next day.
Give me an example of when you worked the hardest and felt the greatest um sense of achievement.
Since I teach preschool through 12th grade, this is very unusual. I don't get this word. It's very unusual. I feel unafraid to walk into any classroom. I have gained enough confidence and experience to know that I'm doing a good job. I love it when students are excited to see me again or often say, "You are a great teacher. Can you come back and sub here again?" But the best kudos are when other teachers or administrators make comments with Within the past couple of months, I was teaching middle school when an incident happened and security had to be called. So the principal came in to sit with a kid and for the whole class. And I was reading the class a passage about space and reading it with enthusiasm. And I'd paused at some students to ask questions about the content and what they would do, what they thought, and I really listened when they were talking. There were times when other students would talk when a fellow student or I was speaking, and or when I was reading. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's more to that, but basically what happened was, was that I got an email a few days later, and the teacher stated that the students really, really liked me, and and there were other educators coming in and out besides the principal sitting there, so they saw me too. But there were instances where, like, I was trying to be, really energetic and asking, and then there were students that were talking. I'd stop everything. I'm like, stared at them, and I said, "I'll wait till you stop." And I just, and then as soon as they stopped, then I got all excited again. So it didn't let it affect the energy in the room, and didn't make a big deal of it. And the principal and the other teachers thought I did a great job, and so that was a really great experience.
Okay, and that will be the interview. I will email the reflection paper later.
Okay.